Okay, welcome again to my Daryl David vlogs. Today I'm going to be giving you a little checkup into my fig plantains production. So I will say I am maybe one of the most luckiest or maybe the most blessed person. Um, the reason why I said that is because this is a drain that they had. Some person said this wasn't a water that used to run here. I was too young to remember that. I'm not sure. Alright, but based on my knowledge, besides the big river which we have, I also have a little spring, I guess, as much after running from there. All the heads would know that stuff more better than me. Okay, so here is another part of the farm, which is mainly provisions, um, plantains, figs, and all of that. So I do have some sanitation that I need to get done here. And speaking of the sanitation process, I was still thinking if I could at least do some sort of growing off tree, put my goat and stuff here so that they can actually get at least help me eat down some trees. Um, so I do have one or two figs. This plant I will have to remove. I also has a small planting tree here. I do have another two fig tree that has thrown up higher up. Also I have another planting tree that's soon to be thrown very soon. Okay, so I do have some um, transplanting to do and some clearing off the grounds here. So it's not a big set of work. I actually had done the job before. I also did um, the whole sanitation process of this field before. So I will say it's not really much of a problem to get it back the way it used to be. So it's going to be a weed eater that's going to pass here. It's going to take at least half an hour to get that stuff off the ground. So now with the trees growing up, I can see certain places that can take a tree, certain places that cannot handle a planting tree. So in that area here, it's most likely rock. So it's more like a cliffy area here. We used to do a lot of yams here underneath that mango tree there. So we used to get cool yams from it. Even the dashing plants that I have here, I see that they have been multiplied very good. So they do need a little cleanup. I also have to sanitation the whole garden by cutting off the extra dry leaves, which are going to create any sort of um, figs or planting diseases. So I don't want to have any of that. So I have this week to come here, um, get the weed eater, strap myself up, and reach here for at least 8 or 6 in the morning. It can be too early, but at least 6, 7. It can be even time like this, and I can come here and handle off my cutting. So with the weed eater, it's not something that it hasn't done before. So I believe it's gonna take me even less time to do that, and then I can see places where I can do some transplanting and stuff like this. So the garden just needs some cleaning. I really have this garden here for, as I said, to get the provisions up and running, and then afterwards I can get plants from the trees. So I've given them quite some time, and I can see there has been a lot of plantings, a lot of planting plants. So when I throw this plant down, I have at least one, two, so I have at least 4 to 5 or 6 plants around this one. So I'm going to be taking off at least 5, leaving back one. I'm going to leave the one more to this side here, so it kind of stays back into row. Um, I also have other planting plants that have suckers, like these few here, which I can remove also when this tree is off and starts bearing. Uh, Also, I may have a few losses. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm not going to be focusing on any planting on this side because we had killed that tree. It's going to start dropping um, leaves. Also, it's going to start rotting from the top, um, showing down the branches and so forth and so forth. So basically, there are going to be some damages, I guess, based on how slow it rots. Um, you're going to have some problems there. So this tree is going to stay here for sure. I'm not going to kill that one. I'm going to leave this one um, until it's going to stay. But this one here, based on the light, we do need a little bit of light from the top up there, come back into the garden when it's actually like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the day. So within the plantings and the figs, I could say they're not bad. Even the dashings, they're not too bad. I've gotten more plants than I actually had, and also I have the space there, and they're looking pretty fine. So I think they just need some self cleaning, some manuring, and also, well, they already has plenty of water. We have experienced plenty of rainfall. So in today's video, I actually take the time off to take a visit to the garden. I do have sheep's goats, and also I'm going to be getting into some deeper livestock later on. So for here, it's pretty good, and I also have plans that I need to get ready to start moving to another area and start planting. So I do have another piece just next door to the other side. So when I start removing plants, I'm going to start moving them over, start transplanting, cutting off the areas, cleaning up, and all of that. So for now, that is what we have here for now. And as I said, if I recommend anyone to start farming, to get the hang of how farming works, I will encourage you to start long-term crops. Okay, if you had the time for it, it's really a time-consuming business that's going to take some time to start its progress. And when I said start its progress, I mean it's going to take some time to start getting the money flowing after 9 months, or like I say, after a year of your hard work and whatsoever it may be. Then when it comes to timing for your income, it's not going to be as one time as you do short crops. But with the short crops, there is even entitled to bigger losses, bigger frustration, more frustration. And if you're not fully equipped for the business, or if you expect the business to be sorted out in a special type of way, then it's going to be surprising to you to know that you're not making that much as the amount that you think you would have been made. So I always recommend person starts with, even if you're a young person, you love farming, you can stick it to short crops. Doing short crops in beds, I can say like doing your short crops in beds in your home, it's it's actually a catch because on a smaller scale you have more time to take care of a smaller scale. You're gonna do the smaller scale like you really love it. You're gonna do it in a way that it means so much to you. But when it comes to a larger scale for business, then you can't spend at least 20 minutes per bed trying to get the bed actually the way you want it, because it's all about time, labor, business, the market, how constantly they call, and all of that. So I would recommend you do, maybe you start learning how the short crop fields work in the formation of like doing a two beds for kitchen garden. I mean, might do a two beds of cabbage, or two beds of lettuce, two beds of tomatoes, or two beds of beetroots, and you may try that. Start getting the hang of farming, because when you start farming, it's gonna be easy. I'm telling you that for sure. It's gonna be easy. It's gonna be like you start farming and everything seems to be in order, and you're growing crops. They're green. They're nice. They're, you know, and then as you start multiplying and start getting bigger, then you see the different challenges and risk that is actually a part of your business. It's not going to be something that you can give up on, or you has to give up on, but it's something that could actually lead you to frustrated. So even when it comes to buying back the plants based on a certain soil that has a little bit of bacteria or fungus in it, and it keeps killing off a certain part of the bed, and you have to keep purchasing the plants. So that's my reasons when it comes to expenditures for short crops. If you want to do short crops on a large scale, so make sure if you has good knowledge about the stuff you actually worked before, you has training in the areas, you obtain CVQ levels in whatever country you are, carbon country you are, and you want to give the short crop a run, then there is more disadvantages to the short crop than the long-term crops. And as I said, with the long-term crops, I don't have to buy the plants. The plants is already being made, readily available for me. All I need to do is fertilize and weed, and also regulate. Keep the garden sanitized, and so forth. So with the short crop, I can say I love dealing with the short crop, but on the other hand, I love dealing with the long-term crops. It's my first time dealing with long-term crops, and I can see, like, for instance, in times like this, if you take a close look to the bushes, you can see that there are bushes that are not going to actually survive in the short crop area. All for these bushes, the way these bushes have been grown, if I'm going to be doing anything like lettuces, as long as the bush reaches that height, it's actually a no-no for um, the crops already. So when it comes to the long-term crops, I can see places where I can actually linger, which is not really 100% safe to do so, because you can create a lot of insects, you can create a lot of disease, bacteria, based on the area you are. If it's damp, if it's too clusty, then you have insects that living in your leaf sheets, and they can create a lot of problems. But when it comes to labor and it comes to production, it's always a big beneficial um, gain in that aspect. So for now, as you can see, take a close look here. This place is actually full of bush, and this can stay for some time. And when I come to give my laborer a work, he's gonna give me a good work that I'm gonna be satisfied with. And then it's gonna be like in the next 2 to 3 weeks before the bushes start growing up again. And then all the place is gonna be regulated. I'm gonna see where I need to stick a few plants in, and then I'm gonna do some transplanting and all of that. So even with all these figs, or just look at this, I have at least 4 to 5, 6, four fig plants in that stool together with the mom that actually has some provision, the banana on it. So I'm gonna be leaving back one. I can leave back this one. Start molding it up and stuff like this, because it's closer to the lineage of this plant. So I want to keep it in line, and I can remove that tree plant. That tree plant can go somewhere else. So for long-term crops, I can say there is always a win-win for long-term crops. And the only thing you have to focus on is just regulating the field, and also making sure that the field is sanitized. So it's less stressed only if you start making persons come to your garden with different types of knives, and or you have different types of laborers laboring with their tools that they used to work with, and they work with other gardens, and then they come to your garden and work with the same tools, and you don't know what bacteria, virus, fungicide that they're going to be picking up from other gardens. So this is why I recommend that I do all my cleaning myself, and I also use Whittaker which is going to be a safer practice for me because and I myself do the regulation, like cutting down all of the dry stalks, cleaning the stools, cleaning the stems, and all of that. So I do those stuff myself because I don't want to get in contact with any of the diseases. And with the banana family, it spreads very fast. That's just a disadvantage that the short crop does has over the long-term crops. But when it comes to any other aspect, the long-term crops always has a better, longer shelf life lasting when it comes to the long-term crops. So I have during this week, and as soon as the week it looks like the week, I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna start working on the clearing of this area. What I can say again, the plantings in the front row looks very powerful. That planting tree here looks very powerful. Um, so I'm gonna watch it and make sure it's a planting because I do got mixed up with it on the on another fig tree. So I do have one planting to cut. I do have a fig to get rid of, and I got a few other fig plants that I need to throw off. So thank you all for watching on my channel. I'm very happy that you do so. I hope you find light. You can comment, you can share, you can ask for questions, you can ask for live videos, comment and answers, and all of that. I'm gonna try to make myself available to do videos on most lively sections when I reach my monetization requirements, and I'm gonna be able to interact with persons on the live. So I'll make sure that even in the garden we can have a one-to-one discussion. Even persons want to do peer-to-peer lives, ask questions based on gardens and stuff like that. This can be a very good practice and so forth. I guess as much you can build a lot of different persons. So thank you all for watching underneath that section of the long-term crops, and I'm going to be heading back home to get ready for my session on the outside. Thank you for watching. See you all in the next video, and don't forget to subscribe.